My friends, thank you for joining us today here on the radio/television transmission. We're going to be going back to David Knight in the radio studio here in just a few minutes. But I wanted to spend some time breaking down what's transpired since UN Agenda 21 was globally ratified by the United Nations back in 1992 to be international law, whether nations want to adopt the law or not. As far as the UN sees it and the eugenicists globalists that control it, they are going to enforce it by hook or by crook. In the past, people like Napoleon Bonaparte and Adolf Hitler in Europe tried to take over by force. But the corporatists learned that what can't be done with force can be done by stealth. So I wanted to go back into the archives here in a few minutes and play some clips here for the radio and TV audience today. Excerpts from my 1997 film that I produced with my cousin who's been working here off and on since, Buckley Hammond, who ran camera with me. And I just mentioned that fact because he's recently come back to work with us after being gone for about 11 years. We're very excited to have him here. But when I shot and directed and produced this film back in 1997, almost no one was aware of Agenda 21. Almost no one was aware of Cloward and Piven. And the plan to bring in neo-feudalism in the UN's own words. And we cover that in the film Endgame with Dr. Michael Kaufman, whose maps in Congress off the UN document showed half the country off limits to human activity completely. Then the rest of it only under partial human use. And again, that's down to the mile, land controlled by the establishment. So it's a form of artificial scarcity, not just here in the U.S., but worldwide, to shut down your competition in business, real estate, industry, where only you are allowed to operate and no one else is. A form of corporate or diplomatic immunity from taxes, regulations, you name it. And I know I hammer this almost every week. It's because it's so key. It's how the world really works. And the globalists are quite public about that. But I wanted to just look at a quick web search under environmental tyranny and Agenda 21 that Rob Dew did today and just go over some of the recent history of what's been unfolding. First off, I want to look at the New York Times. They are pretty much the establishment talking point propaganda center for the rest of the dinosaur media. And for the last few years, this was in 2012, they have been running around saying that there is no Agenda 21, there is no move to control human activity, there is no move to use zoning as a form of feudalism to bring in a new dark age of control, even though that's in the Biological Diversity Assessment 1996 and part of Agenda 21 to 1992. But here it is. Activists fight green projects seeing UN plot. And they're like, oh, it's so terrible. These projects we have to basically federalize every town in the country by getting cities to adopt these regulations to circumvent the states and go under UN treaty. Oh my gosh, it's insane. It doesn't exist. None of it is happening. So I thought I would just show you here, if you're a TV viewer or direct you if you're a radio listener, to even Wikipedia. And everybody knows Wikipedia is not totally accurate when it gets vandalized, but usually it's very accurate. You go to the bibliography on Agenda 21 on Wikipedia, and you can see the bibliography to all the government documents and the official UN website where it's on record. And this is the so-called voluntary implemented action plan of the United Nations. But that's not really true because through adjoining treaties in UNESCO, it is brought into law. But the point is, it does exist despite what the New York Times says. And it shows that the New York Times has lost a lot of power because famously they did a review of the film New World Order that came out about a year after Bilderberg 2008, where Obama and Hillary were meeting in secret. We got video of this. They said that I was there imagining they were meeting, having a full-on hallucination at the Marriott in Chantilly, Virginia, even though now it's totally admitted to have happened. Remember, the New York Times said none of that even went on. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Move along, move along. These aren't the droids you're looking for. But again, the good news is people are seeing the manifestation of Agenda 21. So, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 17 years after I produced my first film, I thought that we would just go over some more of the things it's doing. Let's look at this article right here, CBS News. Bloomberg announces winner of micro apartment design competition. And you've got these big real estate owners like Bloomberg and others. It's happening in San Francisco and Austin, Texas, not just New York, where, oh, you pay double or triple per square foot what you would have paid for a 2,000 square foot apartment or a 1,000 square foot apartment, or you got a big family, a 3,000 foot condo. You now pay effectively, ladies and gentlemen, double or even triple for a 250 square foot, and now they're making them smaller. They're building one in Austin that will house over 5,000 people where it's 200 square feet, despite all the studies showing it's like elephants in tiny cages, not good for you. So this is all in Agenda 21 to have higher taxes and to take more of your money and then to get you to accept less as if it's cool. And I get the consumerism can be out of control, but these are elites who want red carpets and Air Force One and 15 houses and 5 wives and 6 kids like Ted Turner, but you're not supposed to have air conditioning or ever be able to have a car, as Obama famously told Africans earlier this year. In fact, we'll play that clip now.
Ultimately, if you think about all the youth that everybody's mentioned here in Africa, if everybody's raising living standards to the point where everybody's got a car and everybody's got air conditioning and everybody's got a big house, well, the planet will boil over.
All right, so Bloomberg announces winner of micro apartments design competition. This is just a few years ago. Now it's going on everywhere. And this is how they sell it as the newest, coolest thing. Hey, pay double or triple and live in a coffin house. For rent, your very own Agenda 21 shoebox apartment. Again, this is being reported across the board. Here's another headline. Micro apartments could be hazardous to your mental health. And then it breaks down the studies showing that it's not good for you to basically live in a jail cell so the elites can control and run your life. Here's another one. Living in a box, the desperate workers forced to live in a tiny coffin apartments of Tokyo, which still costs up to 400 pounds a month or about $700. Again, it's about charging you to live in a coffin-style house more. It's not about cutting back on spoilage or living large. It's about poor people learning to live even more poor. And there's more breakdowns here in Austin with the development where they are setting up short-term rentals controlled in a complex that the city is going to run and basically own. Just very scary to have government like the Communist Chinese getting into the business of these coffin-like facilities. Moving right along, here's another example of what Agenda 21 means. Western land takeover, former BLM chief, state lawmakers clash as millions of acres are taken out of use. Case in point, the Bundy Ranch, where you had 35 families, now only 1 because they use the regulations and fees to raise it to bankrupt you. Like Obama said, you can build a coal power plant, but we're going to raise the taxes to bankrupt you. You can have ranches, but we're just going to raise the prices till it bankrupts you, and we wonder why beef prices have doubled. So continuing here, here's another article along that line. BLM eyes 90,000 acres of Texas land. They only, have half the West and hundreds of millions of acres. Now they want even more of ranchers' land that they have the title to. Sticker shock as steakhouse beef prices highest in 27 years. So these are just examples of what living under this system is like. Now, in conclusion, before we go to these clips from my first film, America Destroyed by Design, let's go to some more of these articles. Here's Fortune. Agenda 21 in global conspiracy or climate savior. And they kind of, make a joke out of it because, again, all the different establishment publications don't want us mobilizing against this corporate stealth takeover of society. That's in all the documents in public. So again, here's that move under Agenda 21 to abolish the suburbs. Obama, will he abolish them? Agenda 21 conspiracy to wipe out freedoms of all U.S. citizens. And it gets into the idea of urban sprawl being horrible. The problem is we're already laid out to live like that. We don't want to go into the central cities where everything costs so much. This will only hurt the poorest people that much more. This is the model of social engineering. Here's another headline. Agenda 21, GOP candidate vows to stop UN plan. It's very popular to expose this and to run on a prosperity ticket. That's why the system doesn't want us talking about it. Here's another one. Esquire saying that it's a con game to try to say that this program is even going on. Remember how they would try to deny that the UN even basically was trying to set up a world government? Or they try to say there was no NSA spying, or there were no lies about WMDs in Iraq? I mean, the people know that, no, this is going on. And denying that it exists doesn't work anymore. In fact, under Agenda 21, they've tried to ban all over the world children learning how to be farmers under their parents and doing their chores. Here's a headline. EPA mulls tougher dust standards. Agency mulls particulate matter standards that would shut down every hay barn in the country. That's out of the Courier Press. Here's another one. Arizona loses to EPA on farm dust. They're moving ahead to shut it down. Okay, can't have dust. Obama team wants children banned from doing farm chores. You see, this is what's going on under the Department of Labor, saying that your children can't even carry out the trash or get the eggs out of the chicken coop. This is the total control. This is why they're banning lemonade stands. And Forbes magazine has to ask, why is there a war on lemonade stands all over the United States? It's why they're banning farmers markets and Amish selling milk, and why they're raiding organic food stores that aren't Whole Foods and are mom and pops, because they want you in their system. They want you at Walmart. They want you at Target. They want you only buying their tainted, GMO, additive-ridden, social engineering garbage. And that's why real liberals, real conservatives, real pro-people, pro-prosperity humans need to be aware of what's going on and to absolutely say no to this agenda, because it is a eugenics, anti-human, neo-feudalistic, fascist program that is on record. And only your ignorance, only my ignorance and my inaction and your inaction can allow this to continue. Let's go to a few excerpts of where I tried to warn people at the Grand Canyon and more, and where we show the actual documents and warn of the UN treaties back in 1997. And then we'll come back on the other side in the radio studio to get David Knight's take on this. Stay with us.
We're here at the Model United Nations Day, January 16th, 1998. We went in and discussed with a lot of people, a lot of issues, and saw the youth being educated, being trained in the ways of world governance and the growth of the world government control apparatus. And I see y'all are wearing little worlds there. Do y'all care about the world?
Yeah.
Y'all are good people, aren't you?
Yeah.
Do y'all think the United Nations is helping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great way to make world peace.
A great way to make world peace.
Mm-hmm.
Because through global governance, we can knock out all the troublemakers.
Yes.
Is that what y'all been talking about?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I hope y'all have an enjoyable time.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
What do you think about the United Nations?
It's cool.
Yeah, it's
very good.
It's like an organizer.
I think it's kind of fun. It is really cool. It decides a whole lot of world issues.
Yeah, they might be.
World peace and stuff.
It's really exciting. Nifty.
Model United Nations just one more than many committees. Helpless young people yielding themselves to the elite's hands. I could tell them about the people that really control it, but they never understand it. It's this petty taste of power that gets them to believe that they're really doing something good when they're really working for something bad. I'm standing here in northern Arizona overlooking the beautiful Grand Canyon, one of America's most beautiful treasures. And it's very distressing to me and other patriots and people that truly do care about the environment in America